How do we empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more?
It starts with one.
From one employee to a team, collaborating with another team.
From one partner to their customers, to their customers' customers.
Expanding opportunity.
Earning trust. Protecting fundamental rights.
And advancing sustainability.
For our society.
Our economy. Our world.
That's the impact. That's the impact.
That's the impact each of us can have.
That's our collective opportunity.
220,000 employees.
Empowering 8 billion people on the planet.
We are in a new era of AI,
where we will be able to build as fast as our imagination,
unlock our creativity,
and innovate responsibly.
As we take on society's biggest challenges.
Together, we can ensure these benefits reach
every country, every industry,
and every individual.
When we empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more,
we empower the world.
Good morning, everyone. I cannot hear you guys. Good morning, everyone. Great. My name is Swapnali, and a very warm welcome to all of you at the Microsoft Discovery Day, architecting the agentic AI stack, defining the next era of enterprise AI transformation. We are delighted to have technology leaders, architects, developers, innovators, and enterprise decision makers joining us today as we explore how AI is rapidly transforming the way organizations build, operate, and innovate. Today's summit is designed to showcase how Microsoft is helping enterprises move beyond experimentation into real-world AI transformation, powered by agentic workflows, advanced AI models, intelligent co-pilots, and responsible AI practices. Throughout the day, you will hear from some of the Microsoft leading experts and industry practitioners on how organizations are building scalable AI foundations, accelerating software innovation, and operationalizing AI securely and responsibly at the enterprise scale. From visionary keynotes to real-world customer experiments and experiences, an immersive hands-on workshop today promises to be an insightful, practical, and future-focused. And with this, let's get started and invite our keynote speaker for the day, that would be Mr. Sandeep Alur. Sandeep is the CTO at Microsoft Innovation Hub India and highly respected technology leader with deep expertise in cloud innovation, AI transformation, and enterprise modernization. He has been working closely with the organizations across industries to help them accelerate innovation using Microsoft's AI ecosystem and next-gen technologies. With this, let's welcome him with a big round of applause.
Wonderful. Morning, everyone. It's great to be here. Thanks for coming in. I know it's starting at 10 o'clock. Not too early, right? Just checking. We were in Bangalore exactly 6 weeks back, and I was looking at my presentation, what I shared there. Everything what I shared 6 weeks back is legacy, by the way, right? Nothing of what I could look back and say, can I repeat something here? Because that was my learning 6 weeks back, but no. Everything that you're going to hear from me today, this morning, would be as of this morning, because things are on a fast trail, and all of us have to basically be on a fast trail as well. And thank you so much for coming, because the reason you're here is to learn, and we're fortunate to have you here, and we're going to spend good time today to share our learnings. Yeah, best part of my job at Microsoft is I get to meet one customer every single day, and my learning happens there. While as technologists, we love technology and we're seeing, what, this can change the world, but the real evidence when customers tell us, what, this is making a difference. You saw so many videos before I came on stage. They're all real evidences of how technology is transforming human lives, and AI is truly profound in that context, right? So for the next 45 minutes, we'll look at how real AI is, yeah. And I have some good demos to showcase, because we can't talk and walk away. We have to show, and you have to see to believe it. Isn't it right? Yeah, wonderful. By the way, before we get started, how many of you are agent bosses here? You're an agent boss. Your designation is agent boss. 1, wonderful. 2, 3. Why are you hesitating? If you're an agent boss, even if your boss is around, it's okay. You can put your hand up. Okay? Few of you. Brilliant. See, this is, probably I would have asked in the past, how many of your architects, how many of your developers, how many of your project managers? No, I think we live in the world of agentic AI, and it's truly you, basically, while all of us are here, I can say this for myself. While I'm standing here, I have delegated a task to my agent who's working on my behalf right now. That means I'm still working while I'm speaking. I'm not joking at all, right? I did a dispatch before coming in here. So now the reality would be going forward, while all of you are here learning, listening to my presentation, you can still have your agents working for you on your behalf, waiting for you to come and give probably some clearances if something is a blocker, but real work can happen. That's the real world we live in right now. Yeah, not a science fiction at all, it's absolutely real. Okay, let's get started. Now, quickly, we've been using a lot of tools, right, in the last, I would say, 3.5 years, post-ChatGPT era. I would say tools because those were meant to be tools that time, but they've become our co-workers right now, right? No less than human persona. That means, they can absolutely take up non-deterministic tasks, which is what we excel as humans, right? The world before AI, deterministic. Applications were built for the last 3-4 decades. Click on a button, the same thing which happen every single day. But not anymore. Click on a button, something would change, and you can't program that. But AI can bridge that gap today, right? So yes, we have entered the era of co-workers, right? No more peers, no more pairs. It's all about peer. Okay? So my theme largely is to reflect on how real these co-workers are, right? What is the reality behind these AI? And of course, all of us look for a platform, which is that AI operating layer which can be trustworthy, that I can use, I can delegate and get things on the ground. Okay? So I think 3 or 4 of your agent bosses, I'm sure, next probably a year from now when we do such conferences, how many of your agent bosses, I'm sure many hands will go up. Yeah? Wonderful. So whatever happens today, right, the videos were evidence. All of us look for what's the impact of AI. Of course, the intelligence all over the place. Intelligence on tap. We can, it's available for free. Be it a student or a scholar or a chief executive, you have the same AI available. It's actually a lot more equitable world today because of the fact that AI is omnipresent. But the question is, how is it impacting each of us? Every firm aspires to become an AI-first organization. As Microsoft uses a term called frontier firms, right? Frontier firms are AI-first. By the way, unless each of us become AI natives, there is no way the firm can become AI-first, right? So I'll speak about that later part of my presentation, but the need of that is for us to become AI natives so that our firms become AI-first, yeah? Now, let's look at this. All these days, we spend time to ask AI, right? Summarize the email for me. I have this large corpus of data. I want some knowledge mining to happen. It's largely, we live in the world of retrieval, right? You ask anything, AI can figure things out, give it to you. At times, it did hallucinate for sure. Those days are gone. But right now, the world is, AI is telling us, what, you ask me anything and everything these days. Now I can do tasks for you. So task me anything. You can task me anything. That's the reality, right? And these tasks are not meant to be deterministic, by the way. They're meant to be non-deterministic, right? And in my opinion, the first manifestation AI in a true sense, in terms of what agentic AI can be, is what we saw with OpenClaw. How many of you have actually played with OpenClaw? Wonderful, very few. I would still say single digit, yeah? But OpenClaw is honestly the first representation of how an agent should work, how an agent should perform, and how real that can be is what we've seen in the last 6 to 8 weeks, right? In fact, at NVIDIA's GDC conference, Jensen Moore put the slide up in terms of, what this is, and he says, in my view, it's a apt credit given to OpenClaw. Peter, the developer behind that, it's a ChatGPT moment, right? Because nobody showed us so far what is the reference architecture behind agentic AI, right? And OpenClaw truly put that on the tarmac. And of course, the world took off after that. right? And this is absolutely real. In fact, I'm going to basically show a little experiment I did some time back. But here's the deal. All of us talk about scaling laws. Right? Today, the compute is a big question, right? Every company is investing. For example, if you just look at Microsoft Anthropic, $35 billion of commitment there, all about compute, right? To elevate intelligence. Now, this is one of the reflection from Mustafa Suleyman, the Microsoft AI CEO. He says, I don't think we hit the wall at all, right? He's saying it's a beginning of what we probably look at as AI factories, right? The Moore's law is questioned every second day. Now, to train a language model in 2020, right? It took about 170 minutes on a 10 GPU missions. 170 minutes. Today it takes under 4 minutes, same task. That's a reality, right? So yes, I think the compute construction as well as factory construction continues to happen. That's the only way to make AI a lot more omnipresent. Of course, all of us want sovereignty as a basic necessity. We don't want information to go beyond the geographical boundary. And of course, geodiversity is what Microsoft offers, and the journey continues from there. So yes, the reality is the compute hunger exists, and it only grows with each of us expecting more. Imagine the world where each of our agents are working on our behalf, and each of them will have a compute exposure. It's almost like me having a PC that I work every single day. I have to give a PC equivalent to my agent to get the task done. That's the reality, right? So this is me, by the way. This is, when I first looked at OpenClaw, it's like, wow, this is unbelievable, right? Is there a way I can hand off a task and walk away and look at, can it do some stuff for me, right? All these days we learned what we call as prompt engineering, right? Some of us, we're still learning. It doesn't end because AI is getting smarter, but we also need to get smarter. But right now, the biggest challenge, for all of us, we have to move towards art of delegation. Prompt engineering is done, it's past. If AI is given to you as your buddy, how to delegate work? Imagine tomorrow I'll tell you, let's say this table, if 5 of you, I'm going to give 4 agents to work with you. How do you know how to collaborate with them? Or forget agents, I'll give you 3 more human beings. It takes time to understand them and collaborate. What if agents are given to you? Are you ready to collaborate is a big question. I don't think we are. We need to learn how to delegate work. Okay? I'm going to show a simple experiment I did some time back, just to understand how real delegation is in terms of doing non-deterministic tasks, right? This is basically, if you played OpenClaw, it's Soul. Soul is, honestly, it's a skills.md file. And I wanted to hand off a task. I had my personal computer at home, clean mission, deployed it because I want to make sure that it has no access to information which is not supposed to have access to, right? This is the task I have on hand. My team members, I have 5 questions for them. We're coming to the end of fiscal at Microsoft, June 30th. Now I had a few questions. You know what? Hey team, I have these 5 questions for you. And I told my agent, send these 5 questions to my team. And what the rules of the game is this one, right? Send it to them and follow up with them. Make sure everybody responds. And if the response is not great, seek clarification. And eventually by 12 noon Monday, I want you to basically send me a short summary of all the responses. This task requires, had it not been for AI, send emails, keep an eye on the mailbox. Who has responded? By the way, people respond not to all questions. Which do not respond, ask for those questions. So it's a non-deterministic task, right? Now look, I also gave hard deadline. I also gave do not send reminders on weekends because I don't want people to get emails from me on the weekends. And I also told them, keep me posted on my Telegram, right? That means what's happening in terms of who has not responded. I want to be kept updated. So the reality is I handed out this task on a Friday afternoon. Till Monday noon, I never bothered to check on this. I was kept appraised on Telegram. I'll show you that in a second. Right? That means I never went to my mailbox to check who has responded, who has not responded, how have they responded, nothing of that sort. Right? Somebody is working for me and I kept quiet. That's the reality. Let's look at this. This is the first email that I created a dummy mailbox called sandeep@gmail.com, and I handed off that mailbox to my OpenClaw agent. And there it went, 5 questions being sent, first question sent out. But here's the reality, people start responding. I'll show you a glimpse of a few things. Now, look, somebody for the question number 5. Question number 5 was, we have an open metric, right? What is your recommendation was my question. So this person says a lot of things, but he never recommends a 9th metric. But what probably is open clause responses? By the way, question 5, I see lead in only, but not actual metric. Can you recommend? Is there an email that went back to that person, right? And of course, some people challenged, it is intentionally they're challenging, with some vague responses. This person says, you know what, for 5th question, I want to go with BMI. I'm serious about work. And I'm asking, what is your 9th metric? And they're saying BMI, let's call it BMI for individual, no. And he goes on to say, not practical, but blah, 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 right? So there's a response. Of course, my open claw basically was keeping an eye on these questions, and it did back and forth on the weekend, right? And eventually it said, I've received a response, I'll go with your recommendation. Number of hours spent per week in office probably is the most practical measure of a metric. Yeah, went with that. Now, while all this was happening, by the way, the best part is I was kept appraised on Telegram, right? I never went to mailbox at all. I told OpenClaw, keep sending as and when you do every 2 hours. So this is basically update coming my way. Yeah. Let's look at this. This was on a Saturday. I said no weekend reminders. It didn't send any emails at all. It's just telling me that, confirming that, right? And of course, come Monday morning. This is Sunday. I was checking on Monday. This is Monday morning, actually, right? Reminder dispatch 0 because people have sent it. But let's look at this. On a Monday morning, when I opened my Telegram, this is largely what I saw. Yeah, beautiful back and forth, and I was assured that somebody is working in this task. By the way, right? 12 noon is a deadline, and this is exactly what I got at 12 noon. An email coming my way. Look, 11:50 something, right? 53. So the email comes my way with wonderful summary. Trust me, never went. This is, by the way, very trivial example. But the reality is how good AI is in taking care. I'm sticking to my instruction. The instruction was very clear. Do this, don't do this, right? That's where I think my creativity comes in. Beyond that, it's all tech behind the scenes. Very real in that context. Yeah, I think you guys should try it out just to understand the reality of how AI stands as of this morning. Yeah. A lot of what we see in the current times is, basis OpenClaw, because that's become a global design reference of how to build an AI agent with autonomy, given off compute, with a little bit of a brain being empowered in that. Okay? Perfect. So now, I said earlier, we're moving to a world of delegation. Yes, these tools are largely making us understand, what, your old ways of working doesn't cut it in the modern world. Each of us have to reimagine how we work. As I said, I have a task happening right now. I'm so delighted because that task is very meaningful for me. I'm not wasting time here. I'm doing some meaningful work on stage, but my buddy is taking care of that task. Very real in that context. So how do I reimagine my day in the life at work is a big question. It's almost like before, after. Without AI, this was my day in the life. With AI, this is how it's transformed in the modern world. And that's how I'm productive. That's why I'm able to save money, save time, etc. for the company. Yeah, essential. That's a direction towards becoming AI natives. Okay. Now, AI has grown leaps and bounds, and every single time you interact with AI, it feels more intelligent, isn't it? Right? And you have a choice of models. By the way, we have moved on from this leaderboard right now, because right now, whatever shape and size AI is right now, it's beyond human ingenuity largely. And hence, for us, the big question is, how do I function in a trustworthy environment, right? So AI, for that matter, high IQ, 3.5 years back, we expect EQ to happen. It happened also. Right now, I don't know how many of you basically have built contact center solutions here, or any voice-based solutions, right? Anybody here? Yeah, few of you. Now, here's the deal. Without EQ, the conversations becomes, impractical, right? I mean, my favorite pastime, honestly, during drive time is interact with my co-pilot in voice mode. Ask any questions, work-related, non-work, and that's the best pastime for me. That's where I learn also, right? So EQ is supremely important. Of course, the current times, action quotient, absolutely essential. Without AQ, I don't think anything. So the example you saw was a classic example of AQ, action quotient, right? And eventually it has to be socially relevant for us. Imagine in a team call or any group gathering, you have AI participating. AI can't be one size fits all. It has to morph itself. It has to be polymorphic in its true sense, that depending on who is asking, talking, respond in that context. Yeah? So very really in that context. So let's move forward. Now, here's what I said earlier, right? In terms of all of us are moving towards world of delegation. I write these strategy notes every fortnight at Substack. You can follow there. But this is real, right? Each of us have to master the art of defining skills. Why skills? Because that's how we delegate work, right? Whichever tool you use, the ask of you is, can you define that skills which is a backdrop for AI to perform for you? It's called the markdown files, right? How many of you have actually built a markdown file here? Yeah, wonderful. That's an essential skill. Doesn't matter. It's not a technical thing at all because it's all pure English. You're telling AI, by the way, one of the customer I was talking to last week, he says, Sandeep, can AI do this? Let me explain what my problem is. He spoke for 2.5 minutes. I said, that's your markdown file. What you want AI to do, you explain beautifully, convert that English into markdown, and that's it. AI can do that for you. Provided you hand off right skills, knowledge bases, etc. That's the reality, right? So, in fact, this is the most essential element going forward. Can you as an individual, you may be a programmer, by the way, programmers, right? Unless you plan your work item, unless you define instructions on markdown file, output is not it won't be human aligned in that context, right? So defining markdown files is the basic skill all of us have to build from here on. Doesn't matter what tool it is, it's very agnostic of that content. In fact, I don't know whether one of the firm launched a tool just to help people create skills, markdown files. How do you create that? And that can be a basic skill that all of us will possess. Okay? Now, let's look at this. If I just take the open claw movement, as well as if you look at how as Microsoft we are reimagining the entirety of co-work as a design thinking, these are the building blocks. Yeah? Now, end of the day, the world would be you hand off a task, expect outcome, and it's a conversation, right? AI will make mistakes, and there are scenarios where AI needs your permission. So hence, it's always human in the loop, essential, because we have experienced intuition. Somebody is intelligent in unearthing insights, but will reflect on it, right? Of course, there's an orchestrator behind the scenes who will basically anchor all of these actions, right? And in reality is, every agent is backed by skills. In fact, if you look at, I said earlier, agent is no less than human persona. Agents will have a job description. That's a JD. You're hiring somebody into your company, you will spin off a JD, right? Likewise, when you're building an agent, you will have a JD. That means it's all PRD and etc., right? So otherwise you'll end up in agent sprawl. You don't want to end up in agent sprawl. A customer told me recently, Sandeep, we have 1,100 agents we built in the last year and a half. How many are functioning? How many are relevant? How many are working for you? They took 2 minutes to respond to that question, right? No answer. So you don't want to end up in a situation where so many agents are working for you, but you have no clue what they're doing. You're just burning tokens, right? So of course, the reality, it'll never be one agent doing solo work. No, they'll be in a collaborative environment. You'll have a concierge of agents, and given a task, AI decides, hey, should I go with chain of thoughts? Or should I consult others to get work done? Chain of debate. If you've used Cowork, Microsoft Cowork today, you hand off a task and it decides, okay, for the task Sandeep has handed off, should I use researcher, analyst, Outlook, Word, what should I use? It decides on its own. That's what we want. We don't, I would call this as a friend door agent. Why should I remember 100 agents in my company? I remember one agent who's my, peer. I'll hand off tasks. You figure it out. Should you go with chain of thoughts or debates and get things done? That's the world we'll eventually land up in, right? So when we speak about, co-worker, the co-worker as an AI buddy largely confines of this manifestation of AI. Yeah? Perfect. Today, if you're designing any system, I think this has to be the reference blueprint. And this is how every agent will eventually manifest. By the way, amount of skill you hand off, how much memory. Memory is essential, right? You want AI to remember who is talking to me, why they're talking to me, what context they're talking to me. Absolutely essential. We want AI to be self-learners, right? That can only have that, almost says, you know what, with more memory, more context, it becomes like it's learning, but honestly, it's all memory. Yeah? Let's move forward. Now, everything I said so far, the foundation that we as Microsoft has given is largely via Foundry. Foundry is a one-stop shop for everything AI. I built some, few examples, few demos over the weekend, and trust me, it was magical because Foundry democratizes everything for us. I worry less about how it has been taken because you know what? My focus is still skills. My focus is still the manifest that I hand off to AI and how many agents I want, what design pattern I want to adapt. That's where my time goes in. Worrying about plumbing is taken care by Foundry, right? Now let's look at this. Interesting part. If you look at extreme right here, from cloud to edge, right? Lot of edge computing is, in my view, still evolving. SLM, small language models, are the most underutilized innovation to date, in my view, right? How many of you have used SLMs for your projects? LLMs, all hands should go up, right? My question is, LLM is not a response to every problem on the planet, right? We say hello, good morning, and boom, some electricity is consumed, and don't ever say that, huh? No good morning, no hello to AI. That's what Sam Altman said. You're wasting electricity and whatnot. But here's the reality. Reality is SLMs will be confined to a miniature knowledge, which will be backing those agents who's meant to do miniature work. Why do you need a large language model? Of course, we're in the world where AI will help us deal with AI. That means, as Microsoft, we release something called Model Router. You go after, you will always be in a multi-model environment. You will choose a few from OpenAI, few from Anthropic, few from Google, few from somebody else, and you hand it off to Router. You know what, Router, you take care of it, because Router decides for the question that you've thrown, which model is best to respond, LLM or SLM, right? That's what the world is. So let's move forward. Now, when you build agents, it fits into it's into a few categories, by the way, right? Simple agents where, by the way, you would not call an agent if you're doing simple retrieval task. So when I asked a customer saying, hey, how many agents? A lot of what they had built was largely retrieval. Typical RAG-based systems, chatbots, they're not agents. The moment you say agents will resort to detailed planning. They will remember things by memory. They will be entitled, they'll have entitlements, which is they can action, they'll have a tool calling capability, and eventually they'll work towards outcome. And they're autonomous, long-running tasks, not simple retrieval systems, right? Hence, the genesis of agent starts with the second pattern here, where it can be long-running, short, doesn't matter, but eventually in a multi-agent scenario. It's almost like saying you build microservices in the last decade, and these services are meant to be composed, right? Composition was the technique behind it, right? Self-contained. And you will, for application, you'll call multiple APIs, right? Microservices. Similarly here, you're not manifesting application, you're manifesting a specific outcome, a task on hand. Yeah? Now let's look at this. Foundry, here's the best part. When Foundry took off, 18 months back, the building blocks honestly were, being put together. Today, I can safely say we have a platform which is trustworthy, complete in its sense as of date. I mean, it'll never be complete, right? Because there are new requirements coming from us, but complete in terms of your ability to actually manifest the AI agentic environment. Absolutely, right? Of course, all of us believed in few orchestrators. We went after LangChain, then LangGraph, then AutoGen, semantic kernel. It went on, right? Because we were still testing the waters. Which is best suited for my task and how best they work given complex scenarios, right? Now, Foundry helps you do all this, build, deploy. I would say the big deal right now, if you ask me, hey, Sandeep, where is enterprise mode? How do you assess enterprise maturity? Maturity comes in not in terms of building, but managing, right? I said earlier, all of you will be agent bosses. 200 plus people here, 200 agents working for you. Who is managing them? Who is supervising the performance? Right? Are they doing good, bad? How, it's almost like hire to retire cycle. If an enterprise excels in hire to retire for agents, I think you arrived. Yeah? So now let's move forward. Agent framework, this is the backbone, by the way. Right? I said earlier, the larger effort went into deciding which orchestrator. As Microsoft launched agent framework, the two big pull through recall we had was on semantic kernel, right? Which was built by product team, and AutoGen, which is largely a research team's output, right? And people loved both. And eventually what is backing this framework is the best of both worlds. Best of AutoGen, which is multi-agent orchestration engine, and semantic, which was powering a co-pilots. Both have come together brilliantly, and that's what we have as a backbone today. Because the bigger task when you build agent is orchestration, right? Orchestration, eventually to tool calling, to memory management, and backed by skills. That's what this platform gives you. Yeah? Now, agent service, right? All of us talk about, in the past it was app service, right? In the world of web, running an application. Now it's all agent service. That means I'll build an agent handoff to you. You manage its longevity. You manage traceability, observability, etc. For me, I will worry less about it. It's almost saying, you know what, I'm going to hand off something, you deploy it in a container, manage the show, right? As simple as that. And the best part is we never live in a solo agent world. It's always multi-agent environment. That's the reality. Because when you build a solution, you don't want a single point of failure, right? One of the customers built 2 agents recently for marketing. One is a content creator, second is a content approver. Without approver's permission, content never leaves the company. So it's almost like a make-a-checker pattern there, yeah? Now, these are the dominant patterns we see customers resort to, right? While we had design patterns for cloud, this is agentic design patterns, very real. This is how you will basically build solutions. This is where your ingenuity comes, and this is where you actually start looking at, I need a solution to build. I will never use a term called app. I'm building application. No, you're actually solving something, and you're handing off the agent to actually solve that for you. By the way, this agent will never probably write on day one. The more refined, I would say, more you observe these agents' performance, you will start refining its skills or instruction set. It gets better with each passing day, right? So far, so good? Yeah? Okay, cool. So it comes to this point. This is the reality, right? We saw our CEO Satya post this in his LinkedIn handle sometime back. Hosted agents. I think this is essential. Why am I saying this? Because look, here's the deal. You saw OpenClaw example earlier. You saw Anatomy of AI agents sometime back. And that needs some backing. It's almost like saying when agents are given 2 things, compute and memory, right? Compute means I'm giving off my PC. Hey, this is my PC, this is memory, files. I think 3 things, memory, computer, and file system. Because AI can do magic. So that means like I use my PC, AI needs that PC to basically do the job, right? And hosted agent is nothing but that. It actually gives you an environment where you can run these multi-orchestrated agents without you worrying about how they actually run. That's the best part. And they manage state. It's stateful agents, right? That means I'll show an example in a few seconds, but I started interacting with my agent, day before yesterday morning, and I came back this morning and say, by the way, that question I asked you yesterday morning, what was that? Can I summarize? Beautifully, it went back. I did nothing, by the way, as a developer to make it happen. Others managing context, managing the file system, writing to that, transient person memory, no easy task. And by the way, unit isolation. Nobody loves multi-tenancy in the world of AI. You don't want shared infrastructure in the world of AI because your conversations are meant to be private. Business conversation, personal doesn't matter, but it has to be private. So hence, hosted agent gives me that isolation. That means every new agent call from a consumer, it's almost a spinning of a new PC, right? New environment, sandbox environment is what you get it, okay? Simple example from my end. I built a simple multi-turn chat agent in VS Code, and this is a simple example here. But the best part is, all of us use some tool or other to build applications. This is VS Code incidentally here. And once I'm done with that, I have my extension right here in terms of pushing it to Foundry as a hosted service, and I do that in a matter of few seconds. It goes to the cloud. It's all connected, by the way, right? It goes there and it gets deployed. It's almost like saying, single-click deployment for these agents to run without me worrying about what framework, what orchestrate. I've chosen before for sure, but it's all managed for me, right? So if I go here, this is basically my Foundry environment, and you see there my hosted agent running there, right? A simple, I would say it's a toy example just to show you, right? And when I go inside, I can start having conversation. By the way, this is truly a complex, orchestrator-driven, multi-agent scenario. It took me a few minutes to build it. That's the best part, because I was clear on what I want, right? So look, I'll show you an example where I said, I did chat with my agent for probably 12, 14 hours back and forth. But I just asked, by the way, I recall asking about this relative theory. What was that question? It went back and figured things out for me. That's the best part. That means simple thing like, there's a context limitation. How do you manage that? So you have to store the context somewhere. It can be across 30 days. By the way, it stores for 30 days. That's the best part. Yeah? Perfect. So now, what matters is before you host it, I said earlier, if you learn the art of basically hire to retire for agents, you arrived. Now, a lot of tools are available for you. Evaluation is important. Before you host an agent, before you put a production, you have to evaluate its performance. And how do you do that, by the way? We give you evaluation techniques right there. For an agent, you can select an agent, and you can evaluate anything, by the way. But let's say if I have to evaluate an agent is given a task. I can create some dummy tasks and hand off. I can use AI to basically generate synthetic information and hand off that information, and you can test it out, right? Look, I'm just generating a few questions for AI to be evaluated, but I think here is where you'll see, look at it, in terms of across quality, safety, you can test this, because eventually all of us want a safe environment, a safe conversation, most secure fashion, right? Now look at this. What evaluation you want to do? All out of the box. All I'm doing is click, click, and click, right? And of course, this is where every firm will have a red team. Red teaming is critical. Before you push your agent to production, do red teaming, make sure it's safe, and then move it forward. That's what these evaluations will help you do it. Of course, running this morning, I saw a few analytics in terms of, by the way, some of it is irrelevant for this particular agent, but how grown it is. Are there biases? Was there instance of jailbreak, prompt injection? How many of you jailbroken LLM so far? 2, 3 of you. Are you into ethical hacking? Just checking. 2 years back. See, this is important. He said, I love that, because here's the deal. So every new model comes in, I have a simple program, right? I learned from one of the leaders who, there's something called crescendo effect when it comes to AI. That means you build up AI to a stage where it gives up, the instruction set. So I tried it with every model coming out, not anymore. It's difficult. It's possible, by the way, there are techniques, but for a common user, it's very difficult to jailbreak. But jailbreaks do happen. That's where this platform comes in handy, right? Supremely critical. I would have brought an example, but for some other day, okay? Let's move forward. Now, everything I spoke so far doesn't make sense if you don't have that context for AI to perform well. Context is what we worry all the time, right? Because, by the way, information is there in multiple sources. We're thinking AI will figure it out. Yes, it will figure it out because it is smart enough, but it may not know in what context you're asking this question, who is asking, and what's the larger, peripheral knowledge. That's not there with AI. Can there be a layer which builds that for us? Absolutely. That's where, as Microsoft, for the context engineering, we built IQ layer, right? This is, in my view, a path-breaking innovation, because that's what makes AI very real, very grounded, very human-aligned, largely, okay? So, reality, 3 IQs, right? Because it's required, because today, if you look at it, you want isolation. You can have 1 IQ, Microsoft IQ for sure, but work-related, which needs to remember who you are. It has grounded on your enterprise data, which is to be secure. That's work IQ. Fabric IQ, that's where our one lake comes in, because you're looking at intelligent data platform, which houses information across multiple, I would say it has data variety, right? Veracity, variety exists for sure, but somebody has to build that semantic layer. That's what Fabric comes in. Of course, we'll focus on Foundry because This is the true backbone for AI's performance today when it comes to retrieval of information. I would call it as agentic retrieval. Imagine we're running agents, but agents need to be supported by agentic retrieval, right? That's essential. We look at that, right? Let's look at this. Foundry IQ, this is, in my view, the core. I would say this is the performer behind the scenes, right? Goes unnoticed, selfless individual. It's like that, right? So let's look at this. Imagine I have three, I would say, knowledge bases, yeah? So we'll look at all those three. Let's say for a question I'm going to ask, there is a factory manual available somewhere. Instruction says, you know, by the way, this is a factory manual. If you don't find information, go back to web. I'll have a web, I would say, hook also there. One is factory manual, one is a web hook, and third basically is your one lake, right? Information, three different sources, yeah? I mean, in the old world, we would have used basically a semantic kernel and, of course, an intelligent search to do the magic. But this is a complex scenario because information in multiple sources for the same question. What's the question I'm going to ask? This is the question I'm asking, by the way, right? This is the question. As a frontline manufacturing engineer, I have a question. And by the way, the reality is for each part of the question, information should come from different places. This is a hard problem, by the way, because we, in the past, gave natural language questions which confined to one source. But this question demands it goes across multiple sources, fetches information, stitches it for you, and gives you one single response, meaning that's a real value, right? Intelligence to impact, this is a classic example. We'll see that, right? We'll see how it functions. That's the best part. You know, this is where the true power of AI comes in to solve for AI, okay? You'll see this three sources again be represented visually, beautifully in my view. There's a web, there is SharePoint, as well as one lake, okay? It's all related technical support knowledge base, yeah? Now, once I load this up as knowledge base in my Foundry, yeah? Now, when conversations begin, look, eventually it's all conversations behind the scenes. When somebody asks this question, how will AI figure it out is what we'll see. Agentic retrieval, right? Now, it'll look up one lake, it'll look up policy for repairs, and it'll search the web, brings it together, part of the query planning. Eventually, there is a gatekeeper. That's an SLM here, evaluation. SLM looks at the response, hey, by the way, no, you need to go back. Go back and, you know, refine this. Eventually, the gatekeeper, it's like a maker checker. Gatekeeper gives approval, saying, you know what, this is good to go. Then it goes back to end user as a response. All the magic of Foundry IQ here. Yeah? Agentic retrieval, knowledge retrieval. And this is what is powering Foundry, by the way. Look, we spoke about agent framework, orchestrator. We spoke hosting. We spoke retrieval. This is what is a true AI operating layer we have today. Make sense? Yeah? Cool, thank you. Who are applauded for the people who built this, right? Very novel thinking. See, today, as I said, you need these techniques. For example, if you used, how many of you use Copilot here? Microsoft 365 Copilot. Wonderful. You deserve to be in the room, right? Right, so here's the reality. We have a researcher agent, right, which we recently released. And this agent, this research agent works in what we call as a critique mode, right? What is it? If you look at GPT, very good in creating content, right? Claude, very good in evaluation, troubleshooting. So GPT generates, Claude critiques, and you get response after that. That means you get highly refined, highly accurate, grounded responses. Those techniques are essential right now. As Microsoft, we've been agnostic of model world. We bring the best of the models for you to build solutions, and that's what Foundry enables today. Yeah? Shifting gears. Now, what is one core capability of AI? Right? Anybody? What is one core dominant capability of AI today? Right? Coding. The backbone of AI today. See, for any task, by the way, here's the reality. All of us understand MCP, right? So today, the tool calling, when a task is handed off, it decides, okay, these are the 10 functions I have to invoke by MCP. By the way, why should you always invoke? Some of the tasks are done using CLI also. Because AI is good in coding, at times MCP becomes overhead. Why can't I actually write code to get it done? When I said earlier, agent is given a sandbox, a PC, a memory and file system, what will it do? It will actually write code to solve tasks for you. That's so, coding is largely, I mean, if you look at Cloud Opus and Codex, that's becoming a foundation for all innovations today, right? When Cloud Mythos came in, it's truly, it's understanding of the software world, which is making it very real on the ground, yeah? So all of us do live in this economy, which is basically a builder's economy. Anybody can build today, right? But you should know what you're building and what should be the outcome you're expecting. That's essential today, right? Now, by the way, those visuals are good, right? Checking, I spent good time. Yeah, it's all prompting, yeah. Right, you know, this is GPT Image 2. Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant. I used to use something else before, but GPT Image 2 is, in my view, has arrived in terms of its finesse in graphic creation. Yeah. Now, I know, you know, my colleagues will go deeper on this, right, in terms of taking you through how agentic DevOps, agents in the world of SWE, you know, how real that is. This is as we go deeper. But let's look at this. This is the problem I had on hand. I said anybody can be a builder today, right? And the problem I had was I was in a flight. I truly missed AI because I had a real task on hand. And I had to converse with AI to get some tasks done, which is largely, you know, generated content. In India, we don't have Wi-Fi in flights. They've started, you know, the few flights, but no Wi-Fi. For the first time, I felt fish out of water. But I thought, you know, why can't I build something which works in airplane mode? You know what the future would be, by the way? The future is, you know, AI. I mean, this was, somebody said this, ChatGPT running on your phone in airplane mode. How powerful that is, right? That's the world we want. Look how equitable the world will become that time, right? Right? So I thought, let me just build something in this, right? This is just to make it very real for people. You have to see it to believe it, right? Hence, I recorded in the flight about my action of using AI, where I had a task on, and I basically spun off a simple application. You know, this is run by Olama and Foundry Local both. I played with it, and this is the need of the hour. Need of the hour is I need an AI, where it will do some tasks for me locally while I'm in the flight. So let's move forward, right? So this is called local AI, and the best part is, you know, I use it all the time, by the way, and the best part is, depending on connectivity it uses, should you use LLM or SLM? I just hand off a task. You decide whether you execute locally or in the cloud, right? So this is the task on hand. Let's look at the simple task. By the way, this is a trivial example just to show. I wanted some con creation, but look what happened here. It says, I can't reach cloud. I'm going to resort to local SLM. That's the future, by the way. That's how it should be. You shouldn't be constrained of connectivity to use large language. No, SLMs can do small things. It doesn't have world's knowledge, by the way, but it can do, you know, magical stuff because it has miniature knowledge, right? So eventually, one of the posts I was constructing, a lot of free time I use it to do some posts, and that was the task on hand, and eventually it runs, right? It runs low. At times, you know, it finds less. Its quality takes a hit because SLM doesn't bring so much of a knowledge, but it's okay. I'm there to refine it, right? Now, interestingly, I took the same application, same local app, and you know, we're entered the juncture where we're moving away from so-called IDEs, right? We're talking about apps. I would say we use a term called my agent. My agent for conversation, agent for coding, agent as a coworker, right? Now I took the same application. By the way, this is GitHub Copilot app released recently. It's in preview, public preview. I took that application. Hey, you know what? This is my local app, which is in a local folder. Just modernize it for me, right? It's very bland, plain. Don't change the UI, UX, by the way, but just give it some colors. And it went about 4-5 minutes, and you know, made some changes. And eventually, you know, it said, hey, I've done it, right? I didn't see the code. This is a conversation mode. Why should I see code? I have an option to open code on the top right, but you know what? A lot of stuff that we do, I'm orchestrating output, right? So now here is the deal. It changed the application this way, right? Simple. You know, this is the best part. As long as you're clear, AI can be magical. You know, it didn't change much of a UI, but it basically gave some colors to it, right? It gave me 2 modes. Of course, I had done the mode before, but my idea was, hey, I need a miniature change to happen, and this is the magic of AI, and I used my Copilot app there, right? I think slowly we move into a world where you largely confine yourself to an AI agent, which is multitasker, which basically is polymorphic in the way it functions. Yeah? Perfect. So the last part of my presentation. Now, everything is spoken so far. I said hire to retire for agents, right? If you look at a frontier firm, a AI first firm, all of us go through 3 phases there. Phase 1 is all of us have assistants to use. It's given. All of you have access to AI. All of you use it. Some firms are formalized. Some firms are not given. All the stuff is. But I think the reality is, right now, a lot of firms are figuring it out. How do I get agents onto my firm? How do I form the human agent teams? In a team, you'll have agents working for you. You'll interact with the agents, but agents need to be monitored. And third is, of course, autonomy. Human-led agent operated. You're going to hand off AI a task and you'll back off. You'll do something else. When that happens, somebody has to supervise their performance. Who is calling whom? Chain of debates are happening. Are there biases? Are there either data drift happening? I would call it agent drift, right? So Agent 365 is that AI control plane for agents. It went GA on 1st of May, generally available, and it's agnostic of where agents run, by the way, right? So reality is agents need identity, right? Like we have names and agents need to have identity. And by default, when you host, I should host an agent earlier, right? Simple application. Moment you host, it also assigns an identity, enter ID. That means I can trace how the agent is functioning. I can onboard that agent onto my control plane. Yeah. Now, here's the best part. We live in a world where each of us will spin off local agents. I showed an OpenClaw agent, by the way. Your agents are running in the cloud, easy to manage, right? You confine into enterprise, I would say, firewall, boundary, and sandbox. But the reality is, far from the reality is, all of us will have a lot of agents running locally on our enterprise machines. We'll build locally because all of us can build it. But when that happens, it has to be managed also. Because information is being accessed by those agents. So imagine OpenClaw running local on my machine. Can my agent track it? Absolutely. Using, of course, we have something in tune. It manages local PC. It manages local agents also, right? And as I said, as Microsoft, our intent is to be agnostic of where agents run and where agents are get built. Reality, right? You will use Agent 365 as one control plane. Agents running in other clouds doesn't matter at all because eventually they all confined to open standards, right? I can manage them. Yeah? Perfect. Last thing, before we have 10 minutes to go so we can do a couple of questions, right? Now, where is ROI, right? One of the questions, I'm sure in your companies, people talk about this. We've been using AI for the last few weeks, months, etc. Where is the value? So one of the notes recently I wrote was, how do you actually look at the metrics which lead towards you quantifying ROI to your management, right? CFO says, I've given you $1 million. How do you quantify AI's impact in the company? It's a big question, right? My first slide was intelligent impact. The reality is, where is impact, right? So of course, there are 5 things. By the way, one of the questions asked us, hey, what are the new performance metrics from the world of AI? Right? There's nothing different for AI, by the way. You have companies' KPIs defined today. You need to be profitable. You've got people, process, and profits, right? So that doesn't change. So you focus on the same metric, but of course, AI will absolutely, I would say, will have a profound impact on those metrics. So there's no new metrics, by the way. The same metrics. You need to basically, let's take a delivery company in terms of food delivery. Their ETA is 10 minutes, right? That's wrong. Let's say 30 minutes. 30 minutes, and you'll say, what? We'll optimize supply chain to keep under 30 all the time. Because with current state, there is a 10% miss on that. Can I bring it to 1%, 2%? But you're still measuring same 30 delivery, right? So your existing metric would not change. Second, of course, is, this is what is, in my view, defining moment because, I've met customers across enterprises, and the leader's maturity in terms of what's happening in the world of AI matters because it's largely leader-led innovation, leader-led transformation. So if they're not clear, I don't think we have seen transformation happen in that company. We're not seeing people become AI natives because leadership manual doesn't exist. They don't understand this yet, right? So as leaders, each of you standing up to what's happening every single day, supremely important. Number 3, I said enterprise mode. You saw a few examples in security, etc. I think you having a governance model with something like agents by managing the agents, etc. I mean, that's the foundation, right? Having ethics office, governance office. Somebody has to supervise. Like this is a profound statement made by Jensen Huang one day. He said, HR manages humans in every company. The IT arm of that company will be the HR for agents. That's reality. That means you need to empower the IT team to stay accountable to manage agents from the infrastructure perspective, right? That's where enterprise mode comes in. Supreme important. 2 things, AI natives, AI masters. So, by the way, how many of you here think you're AI native? AI native means I know my day in the life at work. With AI, it has become better, and I know how. That means you're using AI in your day in the life at work efficiently. That efficiency, of course, increases with each of us, but how many of you think you're AI natives? I mean, don't feel shy. Come on, all of us. I'm sure all of you use AI. Yeah, but how many of you think you're still figuring things out? Good, that's a fair thing, right? And you should run fast on the trail because you know what? One fine day there's a question mark on you. I've given you AI. It's complementary, by the way, to you. How are you complementing each other in your day in the life at work, right? And in a firm, you'll see a few AI masters. They'll be the change agents, change makers. So each firm's aspiration is to make everyone AI natives, and the journey begins with AI masters leading the effort. And the AI masters will be somebody from leadership. Yeah? And of course, last one. Going forward, you will basically procure tokens, right? CFO approval required for, hey, I'm looking at whatever tasks we have on hand, we might need 3 million tokens for the next 3 months. That's it. Then, by the way, here's the best part. Platform should basically orchestrate token usage. Billing tokenization is a platform feature. That means you can put gates in terms of how much tokens this team gets or the other team gets. Yes, we live in a world of token economy. So eventually, when a simple question is asked, by the way, new model comes in. I know I ask this question, most of my customer meetings. Imagine GPT 5.4 was there, right? Yeah? 5.5 came in. Would you jump on it next day morning to use 5.5? How many of you think, I'm using 5.4, 5.5 came in this morning, I'll move it to 5.5, or how many of you do that? So you'll stay in 5.4? You'll evaluate for sure. You evaluate for what? Wonderful. Here's the deal. Costing, accuracy, absolutely. So here's the deal. The reality behind the scene is 5.4, as an example, for a task, if it consumes 10,000 tokens, because 5.5 is intelligent, smarter, same task, 5,000 tokens. That's the reality. You will have to move because without we reducing price, you're going to right off the bat save cost, right? So the token economy is such that with each new model coming in, it only gets better, smarter, and tool calling, reasoning. The moment reasoning happens, token usage hits the roof. But can reasoning happen with bit of intelligence right there? So you would actually live in this world going forward. I think it's here and now, right now. It's not future, it's right now as we speak. Okay? So yes, long story short, we live in these times where intelligence is in the tap, right? I think as Microsoft, our effort is to give you the best of what's out there. And eventually what matters is you want a trustworthy platform where you can bet on conversations that are private and professional both. And you want that AI operating layer, which basically is open and broad and brings the best of what's out there. That's what we offer as Microsoft, right? So with this, let's pause I have 4 minutes to go. Any questions any of you have, just show of hands. We'll take a couple of questions, then move forward. Yeah, let's take questions. A person there on the left, yeah. If you can pass on mic, yeah. Yeah. How many of you have questions, by the way? Show of hands. 1 hour I spoke, 2 people have questions? I'm sure, yeah. Cool, please go ahead.
Yeah, so you said in one of the slides, right, that we are building agents, we are building multi-agent systems, but it is very important that how can we monitor that? So,
yeah.
So not sure if I missed it, but are we planning to have a complete end-to-end flow type of module integrated within the Azure stack, which can be leveraged to deploy a complex use case and integrate all these different portions within it?
Absolutely. The challenge today is you build agents, simple, medium, complex, doesn't matter, but you want end-to-end, right. You build, deploy, manage, life cycle, has to manage. That's what Foundry and Agent 365 combination, that's what it solves for us, right? Simplifies significantly because you can focus on the business aspects of it. The tech plumbing is taken care, democratized. Answer is yes. Yeah. I think at the back you had a question, so yeah. Yeah.
Firstly, thank you so much for this wonderful insights. 2 questions that I wanted to ask is, you talked about autonomous long-running agents.
Yeah.
So how prepared is the systems for autonomous? For example, GPT 5.5 came in with this whole design of this long-running agents, making it much more powerful, and which is kindly the state of the art for many of the things, right? So just wanted to understand with Microsoft, this model, this whole ecosystem that we're building in, how is it augmenting that? That was the one thing. The second thing is regarding the SLMs thing. I've been working with SLMs and fine-tuning and distilling for a long, long time. I just wanted to understand is there anything, and how prepared are the SLMs to take on this, this whole race of bringing down cost? And you said micro work, like getting out there. So how are we getting out of there? Just want to understand.
Wonderful. Thanks for the question. Number 1, yes. See, autonomy is something you decide. Today, the Foundry as a host for agentic AI can take up long-running tasks. With autonomy, without autonomy is something which is your choice. So when does autonomy come in? When you trust something. The process is reimagined in the world of agentic AI. I want to make sure everything happens well, so I'll remain as human in the loop to make sure that every step is done well. When it's doing well, you'll start building trust. When trust comes in, you'll hand off autonomy. Yes, despite autonomy being handed off, you still want to be kept appraised of what's happening, which is going back to my OpenClaw example where I said, keep me posted on Postman, right? And I should really interact with my long-running task, because by the way, you don't want after 2 days telling you, hey, boy, sorry, I screwed up because I did something wrong. No, that's waste of time. So it's your call. All I'm saying as a platform provider, we have given you the tarmac. We have given you the canvas to build agents which can be long-running with autonomy. By the way, model doesn't come in the picture because model is one dot in larger architecture blueprint. You decide which model. I said earlier, many times you evaluate models, right? Which model is best suited for you. By the way, you evaluate 4 or 5 models because all of them are good, because you also want to manage cost. So you'll choose some of the best open source model, some of the closed source models. You're the best open weight model. You'll use some SLMs also. But somebody has to decide, okay, this task is trivial. Let me not waste tokens. Let me route an SLM because SLM can answer this question. So those are the design calls you make. And for that, we've given you the platform to make it reality. So agentic AI, I would say AI tier is lit up with agentic framework right now. Agent service, hosted agents, largely Foundry. Second, SLM. See, in my view, 30 seconds to go. Any question, we'll take it offline. But here's the deal. SLMs are smaller. They don't carry words knowledge. The way forward is fine-tune them for the task on hand, for the domain on hand. Because you want to make them good in one thing. LLM is, master of all, by the way. You don't want that to solve a simple thing. So SLM fine-tuning is the way forward to make sure that it serves the purpose that's been built for, and that will power the agent is meant to do that task. Imagine procure to pay as an example. You want to train that model only do that procure to pay the task. You don't worry about other things at all, not required. So that's how you manage cost. That's how you remain sustainable going forward. So build in the cloud, find in the cloud, deploy to edge the future. Okay? Awesome. I think I'm right on time. Thank you so much for patiently listening to me for 1 hour. Any question I can hang outside. Otherwise, you have a good rest of the day. Thanks. Bye-bye.